best entertainment on the earth. Tune in for Comics with Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I want to just be as kind of open as possible. I think I am on this show. I tell you what's on my mind. It's often incoherent and rambly, but there you have it. That's what we do. Uh, there's been this controversy around Lord of the Rings, and I'm sure all of you have seen it. If you're one of the lucky ones who's like, controversy, what? Then just stop listening right now. You're good. Just protect that nice innocent part of you that hasn't been sucked into this chaos. Um, and I know a lot of people are really worked up about it. I see a lot of people on on one side, very angry, and on the other side, very angry. And I can't get myself to emotionally care about it. I just can't. I try. Well, actually, you know what? I don't really try. I don't try. Um, I don't inherently care. So the basic premise is that Amazon Prime, which by the way, that right there, just Amazon Prime, those words automatically like take away 50% of my emotional caring right there. If not for The Boys and then Invincible, I have a hard time believing that a lot of people who who read comics, enjoy comics, would care about Amazon Prime at all. It feels like that's the dumb stepson of the streaming family. I mean, Netflix has its niche, HBO Max is doing its thing, Disney Plus, and then there's like Amazon Prime, which every time I try and use it, the interface is mind-numbingly terrible. Why is it and I'm looking at an Apple TV, why is it when you search under a particular piece of content, they give you like 18 versions of the exact same content, one of which is free with your Prime subscription, and the others are all paid, but they don't have any real indicator of showing that. So you've got to click around, and I hate it's slow. I hate that service. I despise it. It is it is no surprise that the Comixology migration is terrible. Amazon, as I know many engineers over there, your UI skills are awful. You do not know what you're doing. Like, hire some designers. I don't know what you need to do, but your stuff is garbage. The convenience of Amazon proper is why anyone puts up with your stuff. Anyway, uh, it's on Amazon Prime, and it's part of the greater Lord of the Rings lore, which I admit off the bat, I read the books, I watched the movies. I think my favorite will remain that cartoon version, the Bashki Hobbit version. That's probably going to be my favorite, and has remained my favorite even with all the singing. It's just that's a classic. I watched the Peter Jackson films; they're fine. I mean, it's okay. In hindsight, I think everyone can do big CGI battles now, so it kind of lost its momentum. When I saw 300, I'm like, others can do this too and do it better in a lot of cases. But they're taking they're doing a series based in another section, and the part of the push is that it's more inclusive. That this version is more inclusive. Well, what does that mean exactly? Well, it means black elves and black dwarves apparently, and other. There'll be an Indian there. There'll be an Asian there. There'll be some different races represented in these character types. And this is where, when the story breaks, and I see people getting really angry, and they're like, Tolkien never intended there to be a black dwarf. And I see people arguing about that. And my first response is, again, like, who cares? Like, really, I don't care at all about this. I mean, it's a show I'm very unlikely to watch. And so you're going to have some dwarves who are black. You can get into a giant kind of nerdy comic shop debate if you want to about, well, wait, is the dwarf itself a race, and thus the color is inherent to the dwarves, and they've been white before, but that they just look white. They're not actually white. They're dwarves, and they're whatever, like taupe brown. I don't know. You can get into these really just bend your head around kind of conversations about this that I always don't understand why anyone cares that much. I don't. It seems like such a stupid thing to get worked up about. And then as the story goes on, as time goes on, it becomes a little bit more clear why people are angry about it. I'm not speaking for everyone, by the way, or I think that there's certainly somebody out there who's really bothered by a black dwarf, which is again weird to me. But when you see the side promoting this stuff, when they're pushing, hey, we've got this new show, it's going to have inclusion, all the rest. It's not they don't do it in a hey, there's a lot of really talented actors out here, there are really talented actresses. We wanted to have the best talent possible on this show, and it just the testing performances blew us away. So, we didn't stick to the traditional the way it's been done in the past, where all the dwarves were white dudes with beards. We decided to have more different colors represented in the dwarves, and some of these performances really kick ass, and you're going to love it. They don't describe it like that. They describe it like, yeah, and for all you Trump people, we got a black dwarf. That's going to really piss you off, isn't it? Huh? Isn't it? Ha ha. How about that? And to me, it's like whenever I see that kind of stuff, like, that's why everybody's upset. Actually, has very little to do with race. It's a proxy war for people just acting like assholes. Look, the funny part with comics is, and I've said this before, back in the 80s, you had Storm, African American female. Or was she African American at that point? Probably just African. Had she gotten her citizenship? I don't know. Some X-Men lore expert can tell me. Did she get her citizenship? I don't know. And then Monica Rambeau, African American, leader of the Avengers. So you had two black women leading the X-Men and the Avengers, Marvel's top teams at the time. All they needed was to have a black woman lead the Fantastic Four. They would have had the hat trick of all the teams people really cared about at that given moment. I think you had a Native American, Danny Moonstar, kind of running the New Mutants. I mean, you had a lot of diversity running these teams. And there wasn't this big, angry racial outrage back then. It was weird. And the people who were collecting comics back then were, the more, if we're to believe what we've heard, not exactly my experience in a comic store, but if we're to believe what we heard, those old comic fans are the old white dude racist ones. And yet, Marvel had, a non-white character leading, almost all the teams. Reed Richards was it, right? Is that, I'm sure, who's leading the Defenders at the time? I don't know. Was that, anyway, that was the big thing that was happening. Why weren't more people upset? Well, one clue might be that Jim Shooter or Mark Grunwald, or any of those kind of editors, people working at the time, Larry Hama, they were not giving interviews going, ha ha ha, look what we did. We got a Monica Rambeau, black woman, leading the Avengers. Suck it, people who voted for Reagan. You deserve this, voting for Reagan. I'll bet this is going to really make you mad. I'm drinking from a cup that says Reagan voter tears right now. I'm just drinking from that cup. My name's Jim Shooter, and I'm drinking Reagan voter tears. You didn't see that kind of nonsense go on because they were busy kind of just trying to sell comics. And the whole thought of doing that would have been absurd. So here we are in 2022, and for the last several years, it's not that people are putting diversity into comics, which, again, from my perspective, has gone well a lot of the time. I love Monica Rambeau as a character. I liked Rhodey in the Iron Man suit. I liked Jon Stewart. I liked a lot of these efforts. I always, the whiplash for me, and I've said this before, was always around 2014, 2015, when people started calling comic book retailers and these old fans, comprised of angry, racist white dudes. And I'm like, hang on. We're the group that has embraced and enjoyed, legitimately enjoyed more diversity in the comics for decades now. We signed up and bought Vertigo. We were into Neil Gaiman's Sandman. We liked Rachel Pollack's Doom Patrol. We were all over that kind of stuff. we didn't think of it like, oh, we got to support the diverse efforts. We just bought it because it was good reading. We enjoyed it. And the thing that's changed today is, instead of just rolling out these efforts, instead of saying, hey, there's this, you've seen the promo image for Lord of the Rings. There's this black woman who they have as a dwarf queen, or I'm not sure, somebody with the position of authority in the dwarfs, whatever their hierarchical system is. And she's looking stern, like she's about to pick up some kind of axe and really go to town with it. And rather than saying, "Hey, we found this actress. She has amazing screen presence. She's just great. She kicks ass, and we had to have her in this movie, so we cast her, and man, it's gonna be great." Rather than do that, it's, hey, all you trolls out there, don't watch our movie. If you're racist, can't stand, look what we're doing. We've got black dwarves. I bet that makes you mad. Well, don't even watch our movie. Don't watch our film. Don't watch our show. Just we don't want you. Which is a bizarre marketing tactic. And 100% of the time is guaranteed to make people angry and shout about it. Now, is this some kind of deep thought marketing campaign where they roll this stuff out, and it's it gets people all pissed off on Twitter, and somehow they've got some stats that say, hey, the more angry people will like tune in to hate watch, and then we'll have our audience. I mean, maybe that's the case. I mean, if so, how terrible of a timeline are we living in, that studios are basically putting out very inflammatory things just to get people to hate watch their show to get the ratings up. I don't know. I wish, I've done videos like this in the past, and man, I get a lot of pushback from from the people angry at comics. It's stop watching it, stop spending money, and most importantly, stop talking about it. If this stuff really drives you crazy, if you hate it, you do not need to come in to a video. There's one guy who will post 3 or 4 times in the comments per video about the tokenizing, and just I mean, it's hard not to look at that and go, yeah, this person has some issues going on. Everybody's like, is that me? Yeah, no. Some of the stuff that gets held, because YouTube doesn't hold too much. Obviously, a lot of stuff go through, but most of the stuff they hold is just weird. Doesn't make any sense. But there's one guy who's like, I think it's bad in the comments. I go in there every now and then to the stuff that's held, and it's like full on just racist crap. But anyway, why, if you market to provoke and antagonize your audience, if that's the way you choose to, push your stuff, then you're going to get people antagonized and angry. You're going to get what you asked for. And then if you choose to turn around and point to the people angry and say, see, I said there are some racists, and here they all are. They're right here. You have to acknowledge your part in this system. You deliberately took this stuff and acted like a prick. It's this desire to want to, I don't know, do this combo hot take, arrogant nonsense that makes your audience really angry. And so are they angry about the character? So here's my question. Are they angry about the fact that there are black dwarves, which I find silly? Or are they angry that you're acting like a dick about it? I think it's more the second one. I may be wrong. But I think if everybody just chilled out and made their films and do your efforts, but stop trying to own the other side, you'd have more success. I mean, isn't the goal of all this? I'm asking rhetorically. I understand it's not the goal, but shouldn't the goal of all this be to say, hey, we're going to give some other races, other people, other genders, we're going to give them some opportunities at some roles. The people who are really talented, they're going to have some opportunities, some roles they didn't have before. And isn't that cool? Yeah, that is cool. That's not why it doesn't feel like why anybody is doing this. It feels like they're doing it as a way to kind of entertain themselves by provoking the other end. It's not even a great plan because it doesn't work. It's not improving anything. It's not evolving anything forward. It's purely entertainment. It's entertainment for the people making this stuff to antagonize and provoke the other side, to which the other side antagonizes and provokes back. It's a loop. People must really love it. It's great masturbation, I guess. That's what this all comes across as. So I don't know. Uh, I when people talk about the token lore and kind of the expanded universe and all that stuff, my eyes glaze over. I just it's not for me. Now, if you enjoy it, more power to you. That sounds great. Glad you have something you like. No, no harm, no foul. I'm glad for you. Not for me. So maybe there's some deeper reason why this is all the end of the world. And some people absolutely are. If you search on YouTube, you get, I mean, I get dozens and dozens and dozens of little video thumbnails of people like looking shocked and emojis crying and heads exploding and other stuff with this, Lord of the Rings goes full woke. And it's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I mean, but it feels like that the provoking, it feels like these things keep stacking. But I don't know. Like people say all the time, I guess I'm missing stuff. Thanks for listening.